We're going to take a look at H.R. 8, also known as the Bipartisan Background Checks Act. So H.R. 8 is something that has been passed around a number of times here, has been brought up again, this time actually having, as I understand it, made it through the House now and going to the Senate. So let's take a look exactly what this does. What it is supposed to do is supposed to be something that will require all sales of guns to go through a background check. If you were going to do a private sale, you'd have to go to an FFL and go through the NICS check. But this is going to do more than just stop sales. This is stopping transfers. Okay, so transfer is not like a permanent sale. This catches temporary transfers. I'm going to go through here and read some of the text here, which I have. If you see me looking over here, I'm reading text. Okay, it starts off with 1A. It's unlawful for any person who's not a licensed importer, manufacturer, or dealer to transfer a firearm to any other person who's not licensed unless said importer, licensor, dealers first taken possession of the firearm for the purpose of complying with later subsection. So any transfer would have to go through an FFL. Now you're like, okay, how do you know that transfer means things like loaning a gun? Well, because of some of the exemptions that are in here, you can kind of tell exactly what they're meaning by this. Things that shall not apply to 2A is your regular law enforcement exemption that you always see. 2B is a transfer that is a loan or bona fide gift between spouses, between domestic partners, between parents and their children, between step-parents and their children, between siblings, between aunts and uncles and their nieces and nephews, or between grandparents and their grandchildren. 2C is an exemption for an executor or administrator of a trust, which is after someone dies, so you can will it to someone else and not have to go through it. A temporary transfer that is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm, including harm to self, family, household members, or others. If the possession by the transferee lasts only as long as immediately necessary to prevent the imminent death or great bodily harm. So you could still lend it to someone if there was like some very clear threat against them, but it would have to be just in the time frame of that. 2E is a transfer that's approved by the Attorney General under Section 5812 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986. I have no idea what would possibly fall under that. And 2F is the doozy. A temporary transfer, if the transferor has no reason to believe that the transferee will use or intends to use the firearm in a crime or is prohibited from possessing firearms under state or federal law, and the transfer takes place at the transferee's possession of the firearm is exclusively 1. At a shooting range or at a shooting gallery or other area designated for the purpose of target shooting. 2. While reasonably necessary for the purposes of hunting, trapping, or fishing. So what is the big deal here on 2F? It sounds like you can lend it to a friend. Well, according to what it says here, it takes place and the transferee's possession of the firearm is exclusively at the shooting range or shooting gallery, or while reasonably necessary for the purposes of hunting. So, if you want to lend a gun to a friend to be able to try it out and use it, you have to transfer it to them basically where they're going to shoot it, because the transfer has to happen at the shooting range or at the shooting gallery. If you're going to lend it to someone to hunt, it has to be transferred pretty much at where they're hunting at and while they're hunting. And the possession of the firearm can only exclusively be during that time, which means they can only hang on to it while they are there at the shooting range or gun range, and then they have to immediately give it back. At least that's how I'm understanding it here, looking at the wording on this. I'm gonna give you a link to this so you can take a look over all of it. So you can't just lend a gun to a friend. I have a friend that was wanting to get a CHL, hasn't gotten his gun yet because I wasn't sure what he was going to buy, but he wanted to go ahead and do the class to go ahead and get that going. So as soon as he bought it, he could carry it. I was going to lend him a gun under this particular thing here, HR 8. I wouldn't be able to lend that to him unless I went with him to the class and then handed it over to him there. I suppose I could lend it to him and then leave, but I'd have to come back and get it from him while he was there at the shooting range there. And if I wanted to lend it to him, the only other option would be to go to an FFL and pay an FFL to do a NICS check on it. And of course, that's not going to be free because FFLs aren't going to do this for free. They've got to charge to take the time that it's going to take them to do it. So once again, this has already passed through the House. It was passed through the House and has been introduced and is on the schedule for the Senate. You need to let your senators know what you think about this and let them know that this is doing a lot more than what it sounds like it's doing. I'm just saying that this is doing a lot more than just background checks for private sales, and people that would be okay with those may not realize just exactly how far this goes along here in doing things. So definitely get a hold of your senators and let them know what you think about it. If you found this video useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and a like. You can go down into the comment section and leave any thoughts you have down there. And if you're interested, you can also subscribe to my channel and click the little bell notification to make sure that you catch all the videos that I post so you don't miss anything. I'm Jeremy with Poindexter G, and we'll see you next time.